Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Trade Trade Group, and it is Thursday, September 8th, and happy opening day of football. We got a really nice game tonight. Should be exciting. Who's not excited for that? My Giants play on Sunday. We'll see how that goes. Always excited going into the season. May not be so exciting once we get into the season, but that's another story. Let's get into the market. So, whippy price action today around the central banks. Lagarde and Powell going head to head, even though they weren't in the same place, but back and forth with their meetings, and that's basically just how it's going to be for a little bit. Let me get to that in just a second. I want to go over the risk disclaimer first. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through is for education purposes only. So yeah, we might as well talk about that for a quick minute. It is what it is. All of these central banks, while I don't fully understand why the ECB, the European Central Bank, is increasing rates now when they've got an energy crisis, and I don't know what that's going to do for their energy crisis. They should have been raising interest rates last year. So that's neither here nor there. We can't control that. We can only trade around it. We can argue about it at cocktail parties and so forth, right? But that's not really going to help us trade. We have to trade the environment that what we're given in. And we know that for a while, as the saying says, don't fight the Fed. We know that we're in an environment of tightening. So you want to be prudent, in my opinion, about your risk taking and understand the environment that we're in. But I think listen, this market is very impressive in terms of the areas that are showing strength while this is all going on. One of the things that I said the last couple of days was, hey, there's a lot of stocks that have been hanging in there, right? And when this market kind of shapes up a little bit, and right now we've got an oversold rally going on. We know that the NIMO got to, which I'm not going to show in this video because I've showed it now 3 or 4 times over the last week, but we got extreme, we got a very extreme reading in that, and like multiple years reading in terms of how negative the advancers versus decliners were looking in terms of when you put that McClellan oscillation index around that. So we were ripe for a bounce, and that may extend until next week, right? You've got a CPI report. We're seeing energy prices come down, and then we also have quadruple witching, which sometimes the market rallies into. So this oversold bounce that we're getting, it could, being from the levels that this thing really got extreme, you might see a further bounce. That's possible, right? But then you kind of want to watch and pay attention to what price and trend is going to do from that point. And if we start moving back down, it's going to be, hey, put your, what you have to do right now, you've got to have your risk manager hat on, and that's got to be very, very important in this scenario. So let's talk about just the S&P really quick. We did break into value. Again, here's the whippy price action around ECB comments, around Powell. But the market has the strength right now, right? And again, I think it has to do a little bit with maybe a little bit of short covering too. Going into is the shorts probably don't want to have a lot of exposure into next week either, into the CPI report. So did we really take back anything here? Yes, we're starting to take back the 5-period moving average. Well, we started to do that yesterday, but we're now back above. So you could use that as your stop. Remember, the whole key for me, because I'm mostly playing things on the long side, right? I hedge when we're doing this type of thing, and I mostly play things on the long side. So, the goal again is avoid these types of things and reduce risk, try to capitalize on this, and of course, reduce risk on this. And fully understanding that you may lose a little bit of money on the turn, right? That's in the cards of what we're doing. But all in all, this has been working very well, for us and our game plan. So price is moving inside value. One of the things that I said in yesterday's video was watch this 200-period moving average, right? Now that we back tested the bottom of value today and held it. So we're inside value and we're trending. Notice what this says, bullish 80% rule. Once we've made our way into the value area for the week, there's an 80% chance that we can go from here, bottom of value, to the top. Again, it's not 100%, but That's what the 80% rule is. So that right now is playing out. 40-48 will be, if we do get there, will be a great place to take off some more risk. We'll see. We'll see if we get there. But overall, what I wanted to go over a couple things in this video, besides the indices, right, is to talk about things like relative strength. Remember, and I was going through this in the midday video. 817 is where we really started to kind of reverse, and we went lower now. From 817 to basically 96. Take a look at a couple names, right? This is what's called relative strength. While the market was going down, look at what AXNX was doing, sideways, right? And now that the market is straightened out, you're seeing things like this stretch and go to the new highs. I'll give you, of course, this one that I'm still long. By the way, I didn't see much selling in this today. But same thing, right? As the market started to go down on 816, and I'm highlighting that candle, look at what ENPH did. It had a little bit of a downward bias, but overall it hung in there really well. These are the things that we want to pick up on and take note of, and then capitalize on when the market gets a little bit better, as we did this week. Okay, so relative strength names will often go sideways or maybe go down just a little bit when the overall market is going down. Notice what some other names did, right? And I'm just pointing this out because I know that they're overcrowded, but even like a Microsoft, which I like a Microsoft, right? This followed the market down. It did the exact same thing. The point that I'm trying to make here is be careful of these names, and I continue to, I like Amazon out of the group. Maybe that didn't go down as much, but still, all of these things are kind of just tracking with the overall market. We want to find the leaders of them. We want to find and be in the leaders of the market, right? So what are some of the leaders, right? So I talked about a couple of them there, but anything what's called power generation, right? This is CEG, right? This is a name that I'm in, right? They're using alternative energy to find power, which we know right now is kind of scarce, not only in the US with California going through this, but also with Europe. Names like as well, AES, right? That's strong as well. That's made a heck of a move. Talk about relative strength in those two names. Other things that have been strong, waste management companies. I know this is not sexy, waste management, but if you look at what's going on in this name, this is the Bill Gates name, right? They're doing a lot of smart recycling and so forth, right? This has had a nice couple of days since this came in, right? Waste management is another one. WSC, again, just pointing out some relative strength, right? There may not be a perfect trigger here, but these names have just been extremely strong. Look, and I like this, right? Right, is this WSC? I think I have the right one, but in any event, I'll keep going here. Other names that were particularly strong today, which we played, again, here's my trading blotter for the day, right? I already talked about ANXX, right? This is something that I talked about on Friday, which I was a little bit early in saying that this name could really move to the upside. It wasn't Friday, it was today, but this is why you set alerts, right? And kind of go from there. Celsius was another name that I was watching yesterday, right? To see if this would come alive. It came alive today, right? I was joking around on Twitter about how it looked like it had some caffeine to it today, right? So found support where it needed to, right? Bottom of value, rebounded quite nicely yesterday. And I took a couple targets in this today. Deckers is another one. So again, these are kind of some one-off areas, but the common theme in some of these names is that they had strong earnings, right? So again, look at what this did, even for a retail company, while the overall market was going down 816 to, just a little bit of a downward slant, but look at it take off as the market, has some strength to it. So again, this is what we try to do at Tribeca Trade Group. We try to capitalize on, not the popular names that everybody's looking at, right, that are still look like they're stuck in the mud, but we try to find opportunities like this that are showing that could really start to move, provided that the market goes higher. And of course, we're risk managers first. Our job, and especially with this environment where the Fed is tightening, right, is to avoid situations like this, be out of it, right, and then counter when things start to look a little bit better, right? CSL, I got out of that name. That's a name from yesterday. MNTK, which is also in that wheelhouse of alternative energy. Nice move in this one today, up 4%. So as you could tell, pretty good trading day. I'm very enthused about how we've been playing this market recently, and look forward to it going forward. Also, the lithium, another area. Right. And I actually got out of this name today, maybe a little bit early. Look at this move. All kinds of call buying in this thing the last couple days. LTHM, and I actually swapped this out for SQM, right? SQM also has agriculture exposure. So this did fine. This was a good swap out. This was up 5% today. So very nice. I actually put that in the TTG trend portfolio yesterday as well. All right, guys. So that's it. We continue to kind of power through here. SMCI is another one. I think right now, one of the things that I've been stressing is, you kind of have to, in my opinion, is only take the best setups. And, you can't, I don't want to add 20 trades in this market, but I love this SMCI as well, right? This is speaking of a strong earnings name, super strong. Last couple times it's reported. Here was your gap up, right? It ran all the way up to 74, pulled back right into these moving averages, and now back inside value. And I actually added this to the TTG trend portfolio, closed on its highs. Looks pretty good. So if I'm going to be in tech, right, it's not going to be in Google, right? It's not going to be in Microsoft right now. It's going to be in names like this, right? And maybe something like, especially like in the semiconductors, even though GFS, Global Foundries, didn't have that strong of a day today. It was up today. An ON Semiconductor, right, versus an NVIDIA, acting much better right now in this tape. Also, just to kind of plug our service just very quickly, I talk about this very, very, very briefly, but check out Tribeca Trade Group services right here, right? You can click on this link. Here you go. Here's where it takes you to. We've been providing these middle of the day emails, gives you a good sense. I give you my bottom line about what I'm thinking and how to play this market. We talked as well about strategy today. When a name breaks out, breakouts are very tough in bear markets, right? What I basically do is I look to, if I got the breakout, I take profits into this, right? And then I looked at, if the breakout happens in the first hour, 2 hours of the day, you don't know, half the time these things come right back in, but you could always add back to this if it's proving like it's going to be like the breakout is in effect. So that's a nice one for this one. We certainly talked about, I did the same thing in ENPH when that happened a couple days ago. So, there's a lot of strategy right now in this market, right? Dealing with the Fed, doing what they're doing, which is tightening. All right, guys. So that is it. Check us out, tribecatradegroup.com. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great night, everybody.